Okay, then we'll start now. Hello, everyone. Today we have a special guest with us, Sai Murali, who is an alumnus of IIT Indore. He's currently pursuing his master's in material science and engineering from an Ivy League university, that is University of Pennsylvania. He's going to take us through his journey and also guide us about the various process for master's admissions. Uh, the talk might have a few, though the talk might have a few material science specific aspects. I'm pretty sure the audience from the other branches can correlate quite easily. And then, okay, over to you, Motiva.
Thanks, Pranav. So, hello everyone. I hope you're all safe and during this pandemic time. So, today I'm going to talk about applying to master's programs and my experiences applying to, specifically, material science and engineering grad programs during the COVID year. So, I'd like to put a disclaimer out there. Like uh, some aspects of this, like Pranav said, some aspects of this presentation will be specific to MSc, that is material science and engineering. But a lot of the things are like pretty general, like they apply to all fields. And can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen, my presentation?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and I'd like to apologize, like I'm busy with midterms, so most of this presentation will be just me reading the slides. But I plan to give the slides to you guys so you can read them later as well. So, yeah. So let's get on with it. So a bit about me. I graduated from IIT with a BTech in MEMS in like this year, pretty much. So, and my CPA was 7.88. This is my major CPA, and my overall CPA is 7.76. I got 7 admits, and these are my admits. And I have 3 research experiences. I've worked in 3 different labs during my undergrad, and I was selected for 3 research internships at abroad universities, but I couldn't attend any of them due to the pandemic. I've been part of the Smart India Hackathon. I was a member in X Club Head of MetaCryst, and these are my GRE and IELTS scores. So with that out of the way, let's start with what universities look for in prospective students. So in the students that apply to their programs. So the important thing that must be noted with university admissions and things like this is that universities, they care a lot about their reputation. The reason universities get students in their program, I mean, the reason that universities earn money in the first place is because students apply to their programs. And if they want students to apply to their program, they must have a good reputation. And to maintain that reputation, the students that come in must shine after they go out of the program. So what they're looking for is people that will shine after they have finished their program at that university, because that will help the university improve their own reputation. So what they're looking for in applicants is that like after their MS or PhD or whatever program they do at university, whatever jobs or whatever higher studies that they go for later on, they're looking for students with the profiles that will get them there. So either you must already have those profiles, or in most cases, in whatever direction you have been going during your undergrad, if you continue in that direction during your master's program, if they believe that you can get at a good, you can be in a good position after your master's, then they will admit you. So basically, that's how this works. So you want to make your profile in such a way that after your master's, you can be in a good place, and universities want people like that. So, how do universities judge? Like, how do they decide that you are in that right track? Well, one of the things is that you have like demonstrated the initiative to go outside the laid path, the path that is set before you, and you have gone out and ventured and explored the field on your own. So rather than the curriculum, like everybody studies what's given to them, but the people that go out of that laid path are people that are likely to end up in better positions. At least that's what the universities think. So one way to do that is by performing research in labs or in industry, This can be in any labs, and I'll come back to this point later on. It can be in taking part in competitions and hackathons. So it can also be taking part in club activities. So all of these are like extracurricular, but not in the sense that you would usually imagine. Like if somebody says extracurricular to you, you would imagine, okay, he's taking part in some cultural club or he's doing some volunteering stuff. But these are also like not part of the curriculum technically, but they are still technical, and they help a lot in your overall in building your overall profile. And CPA is an important thing. However, like as it's as many people probably might have told you, greater than 8 or greater than 8.5 is a really good CPA, and that's what it's like without like less than 8.5, you will have less chances at universities. People might have been telling you these things, but it's possible for you to get in if the rest of your profile can compensate. So like you can see my GPA, I got like 7.88. It's less than 8, but the rest of my profile compensated for that. And so you don't need to worry if your CPA isn't like really good. So in fact, many universities specifically state that a good CPA, this is not the minimum by the way, a good CPA from IITs is greater than 7.5. So being from an IIT definitely gives you an edge. And the other at the from other unis it's 8.5. So some universities specifically state this because of course it's harder to get a higher GPA at IITs rather than other universities, and universities recognize this fact. So you don't need to worry that much. For PhD admits, however, because of the insanely high competition, it's going to be hard to get in with a CPA less than 9. Again, this depends on the university that you're applying to, but again, it's possible for you to compensate for that. So one specific example that I'd like to show you is the MSc department at UPenn, the university where I'm studying in right now. So this is an important point. So the question that needs to be answered by your application is, does this applicant have the potential to be a research scientist? So that's what UPenn sees. So part of this is the coursework that you have done, and mostly it's the research experience. So that's what UPenn wants, and they are thinking that people who have this research experience will go on and do stuff after their MS. So that's why they are looking for these kinds of people. So I'd suggest you to go to the FAQ of the program that you're applying to and look at these kind of questions and try to tailor your profile in such a way, or tailor your SOP and things like that in such a way. So in particular, in MSc grad programs, the kind of students that attend these kinds of programs that I'm seeing around me are as follows. So people with research experience, like everybody that I've talked with has some sort of research experience, be it part of their BTP or be it they have done some additional work, be it industrial experience, that is after they have graduated, they worked somewhere, and that they've showed as their research experience. Even for master's programs, people have some sort of research experience. And like if you want to shine in the in the applicant pool, you must definitely have a good amount of research experience. And one more thing that I see very commonly is that people from non-MSc backgrounds. So like MSc Materials Science and Engineering, many people they have not done their bachelor's in their in MSc. So MSc is one such field. Because of the highly interdisciplinary nature of the field, you can see people from all engineering and science as well. So from all fields of science, all fields of engineering, all these people attend MSc grad programs. So, however, these people, they have relevant coursework or research experience that's relevant to MSc, and that's why they were able to get in. But because of this, MSc grad programs are a bit more competitive because there are people from other disciplines, and most people who apply to MSc programs, they know what they want to do. Like if somebody is from electrical engineering, they won't apply to an MSc program if they don't know what they want to do. So most of the applicant pool will be relatively serious, uh, a pool of applicants. So they know what they want to do, and that's why the competition is slightly higher. But still, if you have good research experience, you don't need to worry. And people with good CPA. most people have a CPA above 7. Above 7 is considered good. If it's above the minimum, that would be good. And there are some people with CPA less than 7, but the rest of their profile is pretty damn good. So it would be better if you have above 7, at least above 7.5 would be better. And again, the higher the better, uh, because it's hard to do so many things to compensate for your CPA. So what you should do to have a good chance of getting it? One is extracurricular experience. Again, like extracurricular doesn't mean non-technical stuff. It could also mean technical stuff. It's just not part of your curriculum. And I'll be focusing on the technical stuff over here. So first is research experience. Start in our own campus. This is like the easiest, the best way to start. Just join a lab, send a prof an email. Like of course, read their website. Almost all profs at our uni have a website. Read their research interests, their direction, what kind of publications they have done, and then send them an email that shows that you have shown interest in their group. So send them an email that shows that you have actually read the research, and say some specific things that you would like to work on. So they will also feel that okay, this guy is interested in my group, and they will want to have you in their group. And just start working. Just things will work out. Don't need to think too much about this. Just join the lab and start working. They'll assign you to a PhD or a postdoc most likely, and keep in touch with them regularly, and keep working for as long as you can or as long as you want to there. And this initial research experience will help you in getting other research experiences, because that'll increase your credibility that you can actually do some work in other labs. So outside research internships, you can apply to national labs or companies that do research in MSc. So national labs are like ARCI, JNCSR, DRDO, DMRL, etc. So these are all like DHT funded or like government laboratories. So those are what national labs are. And other academic institutions like IIC, other IITs, TFR, ICTS, and things like this, ISERs, NITs. In fact, some of these, like even national labs and academic institutions, they have their own summer internship programs. So be on the lookout for these. Apply to them. They have like many of these have GPA restrictions, like you have to have above 8 to get in. I would suggest to apply anyway if it's free. Like apply anyway. And like even in companies like Tata Steel and ArcelorMittal, they have these sort of things. However, it's hard to get in without contacts. In fact, I got in, like I did my internship at ARCA, and the only reason, like I did it after second year, and it's technically not allowed for people to do their internship after second year. Only like third years are allowed. But I was able to do it because I had a contact. So my contact like basically opened the application for me, and then I had to submit my previous research experiences and all things like that, and letters of recommendation and things like that. So that would definitely help. Like that's the easiest way to get in, but otherwise it's also possible. It's just a bit tougher to get in. And abroad research internships. The most common way to do this is by cold emailing professors. Like just send an email to professors, and just like I said, with in our campus, you have to read the research, show that you have actually read the research and that you're interested in their work, and reference a few papers of theirs. Say that okay, you're doing this so and so work, and I want to work in that as well, and my previous experience was so and so, and I can relate that experience to what you're doing, so I can help you in your lab and things like that. So that's how, like that's one way of doing things. The other thing is by applying to scholarships, um, like my tax dad. You might have heard of these things. You might be receiving emails on these things. So you can apply to those. And there's a summer program at NUS and NTU. You can apply to that as well. And this is something that like many people don't know about. It's a platform called Syrup, and especially for material science. Like there's a lot of material science related projects over here. So basically, what profs do, what some research groups do is they put out, like if they have a requirement for an intern in their lab, they put an advertisement sort of thing on Syrup. So what you can do is you can go there and you can browse through all of the available things. And I think a lot of uh, programming or computer science related stuff is also here. Mechanical stuff is also there. Mechanical related stuff. That's actually a very good place to apply to. In fact, two of the three internships that I got abroad were through Sirap. So, and start early, start applying for these summer internships during your December break. That is during your third year after your fifth sem, basically. So, for after your third year, you must start applying like in the middle of your third year itself. So, how to keep cold email profs? Just keep it small, keep it simple. Like these profs are really busy people. They just don't have time for your email, and they most probably don't even need your help in their lab. But they'll it's uh, like they're being very courteous when they're offering you a position in their lab. So don't waste a lot of their time. Keep it small. Keep it to the point. Attach your resume, attach your all like your research works. If you have done an internship, if you've written a thesis at that internship, attach that. If you have published something, attach that. So, and this is an important thing. It's probably a small thing, but it really matters. Send them an email on weekdays, and when it is morning for them, that helped me a lot. Like I sent more than 200 emails, and I got like 4 or 5 responses, less than 10 responses, and most of them were native. Like they just didn't need anybody that year. But I got only like 3 positive responses. So don't give up if you're not getting any responses. Just keep sending emails to as many profs as you can. They receive many emails from people anyway. So you, it's tough to get a response anyway. So just send as many as you can. Don't get disheartened. Now, scholarships for research internships like my tax, DAD, and things like that. You need a high CPA for these things. I think my tax has an above 8 or something criteria. But I suggest you to apply anyway, if it's free to apply. Even if you don't meet the criteria, just apply. Just apply anyway. You don't know what may happen that year. Like if that year the applicant pool isn't very competitive, you might get in. So if it's free, just apply. So, and for some of these scholarships, you already need to have approval from a prof to work in the lab. I think Charpak is one of these kinds of scholarships. So you'd have to cold email profs anyway, even if you're applying to a scholarship for some of those scholarships. And make sure to mention that you're applying for a scholarship in your email so that like the burden on them would reduce, because in some cases they might have to sponsor you. And in most cases, when you cold email profs, they most likely won't be sponsoring you. You have to sponsor yourself. uh, so in such cases these scholarships will help you. And talk to people who got these scholarships, because you have to write an SOP for some of these. You have to get recommendation letters. So talk to people who got these scholarships already, so that you can frame your SOP and things in a better way. Talk to as many people as you can. Like people, like if you're aiming for anything, like if you're aiming to get into any program, if you're aiming to apply to any program or any scholarship or any internship, talk to people who got those internships, who got admits over there. You can find these people on LinkedIn. You can see their profiles on LinkedIn. Just email them and or message them and ask them questions about these things, so that you're well informed. You can't do many of these things without help from other people. So competitions and hackathons, Smart India Hackathon is a great hackathon. Like in fact, relevant to MSc, there are many problem statements over there. But you have to search hard for them through the hardware section specifically, and most of them you cannot actually make the final hardware, because in fact in the problem statement that I chose, we had to use a laser that costed like $3,000 or $4,000. So that's way too much. Like you can't make the actual hardware, but you can propose something and you can get to the second round and then not do anything after that. That's what we did. And that does count as experience, and you can put that in your resume. And in fact, it does show that you have actually done some literature review, and you have read about a certain topic out of your syllabus. So that definitely does help. I think DRDO also has a hackathon, and there are other hackathons. I apologize, I don't, I haven't seen many of these, but you can search online and better ask some other person about these things. But the point is, this is an important thing that you can add to your profile, is what I want to say. Club participation, participate in MetaCryst, guys. Like when I was in MetaCryst, I didn't, we couldn't really do much, but it's really good to see the progress that these guys have made. Like this kind of talk that these guys have arranged, it's really good. It would have been very nice if I had it at my time, but it's nice to see these things and participate in these activities. Uh, because it also, again, it shows that you have gone out of your laid path. And if you're not in MSc, participate in your respective clubs. They do carry value, and you'll also learn a lot about your own field. So, choosing your topic of interest. Now, I know I've received a question from somebody that's not in MSc regarding this. Over here, I'll talk about only MSc. Because usually MSc grad programs have separate subdisciplines, and in most cases you don't need to tell which topic you're really interested in, because you can say, well, I want to explore different topics, and you can say that. That's not wrong. uh, but it will be nice if you have a particular topic in interest, because that will give you a sort of like something to write your SOP around, so you can focus, like you'll have something to focus about in your SOP. So it's nice to have a topic in mind before applying. So, and a good way to understand what kind of topic you want to apply to is by working, like by doing things in several fields, or at least in one field. And if you really like it, you can apply to the same field again. And just because you said that, okay, I'm going to do on optical materials in your SOP, that doesn't mean you have to come here and do only in optical materials. You can explore whatever you want. Nobody's going to ask you what you wrote in your SOP. So, what is material science and engineering? I'm going to skip this part. You guys already know this. But these are the subdisciplines in MSc. And like usually the programs are structured in this way. You'll have all these different kinds of materials and like subdisciplines. So I'm just putting this out there so that you get an idea of what you have to read about, but read about these things separately. If you want to know more about these things, you can read about the faculty profiles in the programs that you're applying to. So you can get an idea about what they're working on. So shortlisting universities. To be honest, this was probably the hardest uh, thing that I had to do during my application cycle. And it is a very important aspect, of course. Like you, without knowing which universities you want to apply to, how can you apply, right? So one thing to take into account is the cost. Like this is a major thing. I know I got a question from somebody regarding the cost, and yeah, master's programs in the US are very expensive. That's something you cannot escape. If you want a more affordable program, I would highly suggest you to uh, apply to Erasmus Mundus programs. These have a GPA criteria. Apply anyway because they're free to apply. So apply anyway. And for people who are in MSc, there's one program called Mama Self. It's a funny name, but apply to that program. Like make sure you apply to that program. It's a very affordable program, and it's a good program actually. In fact, you can learn the German language when you're over there. Like part of the program is in Germany, part of it is in France, things like that. You can learn the local language while you're there as well. So look at your options again. Talk with people to know if this is actually a right fit for what you're hoping for. Talk with people who got admits into these programs. But these are very affordable compared to programs in the US. US programs are just expensive. That you cannot escape that fact. So, however, in the US, public universities are usually a bit cheaper than private universities because they have more RITA opportunities, and like they also offer tuition waiver if you get an RART. But you have to get an RART, and that's again there's competition for that as well. You have to get a certain score on IELTS or TOEFL or whatever. So again, it all depends. But you can estimate around 40 to 40 lakhs in tuition, or more than that. In fact, it depends on the university, but like it's gonna be expensive just for tuition again. So there's again living expenses, depends on where you are. If you're in California, it's gonna cost incredibly high for just the rent and other living expenses. If you're in New York or Boston or big cities like that, it's gonna cost a lot. So living expenses again is another thing. But there's this guy called Parth Vijayvargiya on YouTube. I watched his videos. I suggest you guys to watch his videos as well. He really talks a lot about these kinds of things in a good amount of detail, so you can get an idea about how much it could cost for you. And also, you can take a loan, and most people do that. They take a loan. They after they finish their master's program, they pay it back. Uh, they spend like a few years to pay it back, and most people are able to pay it back. And if you join a good university, there's a high chance that you can pay it back. But even then, taking that loan itself is a big load. So if that is a factor to you, then apply in other countries. Like the US is not the only place. Other places have incredible programs. It just depends on the fit, on what kind of program you want to join. So if this is a constraint for you, apply to Europe, apply to Australia. Australia is also a bit expensive, I guess, but apply to Europe. Europe programs are relatively much less expensive, but they're also a bit like the competition for them, because they're less expensive. The competition for them is pretty high, but even then, I'd suggest you to apply because it's free. Like for all these Erasmus Mundus programs, it's free to apply. So apply anyway. Like what are you to lose, right? So again, MS versus M engineering. Now I'm not talking about PhD in this talk because, frankly, I'm not the right person to ask about that. Uh, so I'll be talking about masters in this talk specifically. So you might have seen in many programs about MS and M engineering, and these, like, you would have wondered what the difference is. So usually MS is a two-year degree, and if you do an MS, you will there's a high chance that you will have an opportunity to do a thesis, and you can also do an internship during the summer, because it's for 2 years, and in summer you can do an internship if you do an MS. Uh, and MS has a research component to it usually, and like they're a bit more research focused compared to M engineering. M engineering is is more like a professional degree. It's like what you want to do if you want a job immediately after your masters. Uh, so and it's only a 1 year program, so you have to apply for jobs immediately as soon as you join the program, and it might be a bit hectic for you, but again, uh, like it might be a good fit for you. So you have to decide if you want to join this program or MS. And while people from M engineering also go to PhD programs, somebody who has done an MS and has done a thesis will be preferred a bit more than somebody who's done only an M engineering. That's just one point to keep in mind. But it's not that people who do M engineering will not get into PhD programs. There are people who have got into PhD programs. Again, shortlisting universities, of course, I've already talked about a lot of these things. And look at previous year's admission statistics if they're available. This will relieve some stress while you're applying. So like search for like university name, admission statistics, like university name, program name, admission statistics. Search that on Google, and if you like, look for the university's website preferably for these things, because things like Yaket and things like that are usually uh, they're usually a bit dated. They're not updated. So I can apply to Erasmus Mundus programs because they're free. And one thing that, okay, this is not a strict do not, but I would suggest you not to apply to Canadian universities if you did not work with a prof at that uni before, and they're ready to take you in their group. Because like of all the people that I've seen who have applied to Canadian universities, like of the people that I have seen, only those that have worked with somebody in some group are the ones that get in. So if they already have somebody in mind that they want to take, they're probably not going to look at the new applicants. So I learned this the hard way, but yeah, don't apply if you haven't worked there already, like in a group already. You can if you want, but there's a high chance that you won't get in. That's what I'm saying. That's it. And look at the profiles of previous admits on LinkedIn. This might be a bit daunting. Like I was incredibly stressed because of my GPA. I thought I wouldn't get in anywhere because I've seen profiles of people of previous admits on LinkedIn. Like I typed the university name and typed MS or on LinkedIn, and I searched it. I looked at profiles of many people, and I see everybody with 8.5 or 9 above, and then I started feeling really bad that, oh, I may not get in anywhere. But the thing is, yeah, while they do have a good GPA, the thing is your overall profile matters more than just one aspect of your profile. So if the rest of your profile can compensate, then it should be fine. But still, to get an idea about whether you can get into some program or not, look at the profiles of previous admits, and based on that, you can make a decision as to whether you should shortlist that university or not. So that's a good way to do things. Again, there's this website called gradcafe.com. You can see about like you can see about who has been admitted to which program in which year, and probably one or two lines about their profile. So you can see that. Again, like these some websites, they really like they want to play it safe. Okay, these websites that predict which university you want to get in, you might get into, they want to play it safe. They don't want to be held accountable for predicting you a good university, and then if you don't get in, they don't want to be sued by you or something like that. So they play it safe, and they give a somewhat modest prediction about your profile. uh, at least that is what I felt in my experience. So don't get disheartened based on this, but like apply to something that's a bit higher in ranking than what's not like too much. Like if they predict you will get in 50 in top 50 university, and then don't apply to a top 5 university. Like if they say 50, apply to like 35, 40, something like that. So competitive exams, these like especially during the pandemic, a lot of people wrote GRE at home, and a lot of the scores are like very skewed. uh, Many people got much more than what they would have got if they wrote it at the center. But yeah, a lot of people, they just cheated at the at home GRE. So that's one reason why universities are giving less importance to competitive exams this time. And even in general, like these don't really show give a good indication of what like how good you will do after you graduate from their program. These like they have like pretty much no correlation. People who get good GRE scores do well after their program, and people who get lower GRE scores also do well. So it it, it it's relatively of lower importance. But if you feel that the rest of your profile does not like the rest of your profile lacks in some aspects like a bit, then you can maybe uh, give these exams. Of course, the English exam you have to give, like IELTS or TOEFL, you have to give the English exam because like we're in a country where English is like for a lot of us, English is not our first language, so we have to give these exams. We have to give the English exams, but the GRE is optional for many programs, and it should be fine. Like to you, like I gave the GRE, but I didn't even submit my GRE score to UPenn, and I still got in. Right, so that says something, I guess. So the thing is, you have to think about whether you should give it or not, because again, these exams are expensive. So if you feel like the rest of your profile is good, then you can get away with uh, not giving these exams. uh, but yeah, they're like relatively lower on the importance scale. uh, in your profile.
I
But if you're
just
giving the GRE anyway,
had it out.
could we do the Q&A at the end,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that's
sure,
fine?
yeah.
Yeah, or else put it in the chat. I'll answer it later.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So yeah, so if you're giving the GRE anyway, I'd suggest, like, I'd recommend, do this. There's this website called GregMat Plus. Take the membership. It's like only $5, only this much per month. It's not like Magush where they charge 10,000 or something. Like you're literally wasting your money if you're going to those kinds of things. And those kind, like, the way those guys earn money is by keeping you in their program. They keep you in their coaching by uh, like the problems and things that they give are really much harder than what's actually on the GRE. So because they're much harder, they'll give you the illusion that you're not ready for the GRE yet, and you'll keep paying for the subscription because of that. So that's how they earn money. It's predatory, but yeah, just stay away from this. Do GregMat Plus. It's just 375 per month, and you can do it for as many months you want. You can do it for only 1 month. I did it for only 1 month, and then that's all that's needed. It's the best resource that you can have. Like all of my verbal, I learned only from GregMat Plus, so I didn't really use any other resource other than GregMat Plus. So that should give you an indication. Uh, Again, you guys have cleared GRE. GRE quant is like it's pretty easy. Okay, you guys can do GRE quant without much effort, without much preparation. I'm not saying don't do, like, some formula you have to look, you have to revise some formula and do a few problems just to remember those formula. But for the most part, GRE quant is like it's pretty easy. You can do it, no problem. But for verbal is the hard part of GRE, especially for engineering, people with an engineering background like us. So Gregmar Plus is the best resource. You should not need much else. Uh, if you need something else, then you can ping me. I have some resources that you can use, but I didn't really use those. But you can use, if you need them just in case. You can send me a message, and I'll try to send you that folder that has all these things. I'll have to look, but yeah, I can send it to you in a few days after you have asked me. So IELTS. I did not write the TOEFL. I wrote IELTS because I applied to universities in Europe as well. So I had to write IELTS. Um, but TOEFL should be very similar. These exams are like they are based on how much English you have learned since childhood. You can't. There's no like specific preparation that you can do for them. You can like it's just how much English you know until then. But if you still want to, if you still need, feel like you need preparation, then you can do this. Again, I cannot understate this. Reddit is your friend. Reddit is your best friend. You can find absolutely everything on Reddit, like on every aspect of this these of the application cycle. There's a subreddit for it on Reddit. Like there's a subreddit for everything on Reddit. So go to Reddit, search for r/IELTS. It's a very helpful subreddit. There's a lot of people giving lots of advice, a lot of people asking questions. You can put your questions over there too. People are very helpful over there. They'll answer your questions. Keep this in mind. There's also a subreddit for GregMat. There's a subreddit called r/GregMat. Do follow that. Do join that subreddit and keep reading through those posts. They'll give you a really good idea about what's actually happening over here. So I'll come back to the resources at the end. So this is one website that helps. I heard. I didn't use it, but I heard many people have used this and this. So these both websites are pretty good. I heard. GregMat Plus, in your GregMat Plus subscription, there will also be a few videos on IELTS, and that really helped me for the IELTS speaking part, because he really, like, in that tutorial they really show real people speaking, and they judge people based on that, and judge in the sense like they give scores based on that, and then they tell you how you can improve on certain aspects and things like that. So it really helped me out, those videos for speaking. But after preparing for GRE, you will notice a difference. Like you will notice that IELTS will be much easier. So I'd suggest you to first write the GRE and then do the IELTS, because the GRE preparation will help for your IELTS a lot. And whatever advice Greg Matt has given you for AWA, that is the writing part of GRE, follow the exact same advice for IELTS writing, and you'll be good. You don't need anything else. So then I'll come to supporting documents in your application. So the first thing is statement of purpose. This is a very important document in your entire application. This is probably the most important document. So the person that's reviewing your application will not spend more than 5 to 7 minutes on it. Like, let's say 10 minutes max. They won't spend more than that much time on your application. So you must be able to sell yourself in that small time frame. So don't make your statement of purpose extremely long, like for 3 or 4 pages with lots of technical jargon specific to what you have worked on. Don't do that. Like in a lot of cases, the person that's reviewing your SOP probably has not worked in the exact area that you have worked in. So if you can give context to what you're saying, that might be helpful. But in most cases, it's better to reduce the jargon, but still give them an idea that you have actually done some work, and your contribution to that work is meaningful. So it must be pretty detailed. In fact, UCLA, I remember when I've applied to UCLA, they specifically said that your SOP must be within 1 page and within 500 words. That's like very small. And to be able to talk about yourself in 500 words is very, very difficult. So, but still, if you start out by preparing an SOP for UCLA, the SOP for the rest of your programs is pretty much just adding on to that and adding a bit more onto that. So I'd suggest do that first and then go to the rest, because then you'll be forced to write a short SOP rather than writing a long SOP if you write one for UCLA. So that's what I did. So I that's why I'm saying that might help you guys. So the rough format of your SOP should be like this. So first, an introduction about yourself. It will be in your application, like your name, where you graduated from, what your major was, but still state them anyway, and your experience and skills. So um, like you have to say when you did whatever you have done, like your experience when you did it, what your project was about, what were the things that you did, and how did your contribution help in that project. Be sure to state this, because uh, and also like if you show pride in your work, that means that you have been dedicated while you're doing that work. That's how it comes off when people read your SOP. If you show that you have pride in your work, then the people reading your SOP feel that they get the feeling that you were dedicated when you were doing that work. Because if you were that dedicated while doing it, that's why you have so much pride about it, right? So show that in your SOP, show that you have pride in your work, and show that your contribution helped that project in so and so way. State this, and then say how those skills, how those things that you have done, like let's say you have done XRD, you have done SEM, you have done so and so characterization, you have done so and so synthesis process, like Solgel, or you have done sintering or things like that. So write all of those things and say that, well, I have done these things, and your graduate program has professors that work in these things, and I feel that I can like your program is a good fit for me. Like you have coursework that like let's say you have done SEM during your undergrad, and then there's a course on TEM in your grad program. So you can say that I have done this, and then your coursework will help me build on that and improve my skills, things like that. So like that shows that you are really interested in the program that you're applying to. You're not just applying for the sake of applying. It shows that you have read the program description, and what all courses they're offering, what all work their professors are doing. It shows that you are showing interest in their program, and they want people that are really interested in the program, because if you're interested in the program, only then you will like utilize the resources that are given to you to a better extent. So again, why you're applying in particular, why you're applying to that department in particular. Again, you can say the names of a few projects that you'd love to work with. You don't need to work in you don't need to have worked in something that they're doing right now. But if if you want to learn about what they're doing, if you find their work interesting, you can say that as well. And then some facilities, like you may see that, oh, there's a state of the art electron microscope in this university, and I'm interested in learning about that, or that really made me interested in this program. You can say things like that. So some facilities are there, you can write that as well in your SOP, and again, keep it short. So that is a recommendation. This is another reason why you should work, like why you should do some research uh, during your undergrad, because you will have people who can vouch for you, who can write good letters of recommendation, who can say specific details about what you have done in the project that you worked with them. And if they say that, like if these people are professors or scientists, and if a professor or scientist is saying that you did a good amount of work, then the university that's going to admit you, they will actually feel that, okay, yeah, this guy really did something. And sorry about that, it's a bit noisy over here, but yeah. So if you get LORs from people that you have actually worked with, uh, that also is an indication that you have actually worked with them. That gives more credibility to the experience that you're showing in your resume and SOP and things like that. So yeah, and if you have not worked with three different people, ask your faculty advisor. Uh, Keep in touch with your faculty advisor. You make sure that you are talking with professors, at least a few professors, like not very regularly, like not after every class you just go and talk with them, but make sure you keep in contact with these professors, so that they know who you are, and so that they have a good impression about you. So if they have a good impression about you, and if they know who you are, they will be more likely to accept to write an LOR about you. And they will be like, they'll have more positive things to write about you, and they'll have things to write about you in the first place. Like if you're asking somebody that you have never talked with before, like what do they write about you, right? They'll they'll just say, oh, he's a good student, and then what? Like what other than that do they have to write about you? They don't have anything, right? So uh, keep in touch with your faculty advisor, at least, because you have an incentive to talk with your faculty advisor. There's an excuse to talk with your faculty advisor, because he is your faculty advisor, he or she, they're your faculty advisor. So uh, again, you can utilize that. If you've done work with somebody, ask a lot from them. That also gives credibility to the experience that you have shown, and ask them well in advance. Like the applications usually start at September, so ask them around September or October, because one of my friends, they asked them in December, and the like one of their profs missed a deadline for one of the universities. So make sure that doesn't happen to you. These professors are really busy, and especially at the end of the year, they get really busy. So make sure you ask them early on, so that they know about this, and you don't need to like keep running around and asking different people if somebody says, oh, I can't do it or something. So you'll have time for yourself, and you'll give time to them as well. And make sure that they receive the upload link well in advance before the deadline. Usually, like, it depends on the application, but in some cases the upload link will be sent to them only after you have submitted the application. And for some universities, it happens immediately after you put their name. So by this I mean that make sure to finish your application as soon as possible. uh, but again, don't compromise on the quality just because of this. Take your time, but as soon as possible. And choose to waiver your right to see your LOR. In all universities, they will give you the option to see your LOR after your professors have uploaded it. So choose to waiver that right. It again gives more credibility to your LOR when you waiver that right. And you don't need to see your LOR after it has been uploaded anywhere, right? Most likely you will be the ones writing it. Like if your prof is really busy, then you will be writing about yourself. But it doesn't matter. Like just wave this, right? Resume, like I said that not to put too much detail in your SOP, like too much technical jargon and things like that. You don't need to put them in your SOP. Like the super specific thing that you did, you don't need to put that in your SOP, but you can put that here and make sure that you do. Like whatever details that you missed in your SOP, put them in your resume. So, and you can also reference in your resume in your SOP. Like you can say, well, more detail about this has been given in my resume. You can say that. It won't hurt if you say that. And yeah, a resume should ideally contain more details about your experience than your SOP does. So this is the ideal timeline that you should follow. This is ideal. Don't feel bad about yourself if you couldn't do many of these things. This is like it's ideal. So it's what you should do if you want the best possible outcome. So this is like from the first year of your BTech until you get the admit, what all things you should do is given over here. I will be sharing these slides with you guys, so you can read these things on your own. But yeah. So again, resources. Again, Reddit is your best friend. There's a subreddit for absolutely everything. Whatever you want, you will find it on Reddit. And these like people on these subreddits are very, very helpful. Like you post any question, they're very patient. They will all like many people will be will help you. They will give you guidance and things like that. There's a lot of people that have got good admits on these subreddits, so you can like reach a wider. You can. It's basically asking many people at once rather than asking individual people again and again. So these are the subreddits: grad admissions, grad school, GRE, IELTS, statement of purpose. There's also arts like GregMat. Make sure to follow that. Again, gradcafe.com. And there are also Discords like Slack servers and Telegram groups, Facebook groups. But links to these, like I found out about these things from grad admissions about the Discord and Slack servers. So like if you follow this, there's a high chance that you can get to know about these things as well. Telegram groups and FB, like on Telegram and FB, you can just search for like MS in US or things like that. You can find groups over there as well. So yeah, and again, this guy on YouTube really helped me a lot. He'll help you guys a lot as well. Watch his videos. Uh, yeah, and LinkedIn and Facebook. Look at people's profiles. Like look at people who have been admitted to the program that you want to apply to. Look at their profiles, and so that you can get an idea, and also talk with them. Like say that okay, this is my situation. Do you think I can get in, or like ask them some questions about the program. Like I am thinking that the program is like this, but based on your experience, is the program really like this, and things like that. So talk with them, talk with as many people as you can, because uh, like it makes your decision making much more better if you can do these things beforehand. And this is one thing that I did not know about at all. Like this thing called 221G. Like if you're applying to the US, like I didn't know about this even after I applied for my visa. Like after I applied for my visa interview, that's when I got to know about this. So like if you get an admit, like this is far off after you get an admit and things like that. But I just wanted to put it out there so that you guys know about it in advance, because this really like my program started on August 31st and I got my visa on August 26th. So you can imagine what my situation was, and that is because of 221G. So like students in these fields, uh, like which are defense related fields, they will be like a background check will be performed on people with defense related fields, so that you know they make sure that you're not working on something that the US military is working on, or things like that. So you want to make sure that you apply you apply for your visa interview as soon as possible. Don't wait. Apply for it ASAP. So now I'll come to the Q&A. So I guess I'll stop presenting. So first I'll start with the questions that people have asked in the forms, and then I'll come to the chat. So first, Mohammed Zaim asks, what work or jobs can you expect for material science in India? Well, I guess this is a bit unrelated to the talk, but I'll answer it anyway. So the thing is, you can join steel, iron and steel companies, metallurgy companies in India. But if you want like non-metallurgy material science, then you can join national labs as a research assistant. Many of them, they post their job postings, their job advertisements on their website or online. You can search for the national lab like DRDO research internship or whatever, research assistantship or whatever. So you can do those kinds of things. But full-time jobs, they're relatively scarce. I know like one person that is in my program right now that has worked in polymers, but most of these polymer companies are in Pune and Chennai, I've heard. At least that's what I have heard. So you can look at companies that do these work over there. You can search on LinkedIn for the jobs. But those are the kinds of jobs that you can expect for material science. And one more thing that I would like to stress is people, like almost everybody who I know who have worked in like polymers or whatever else, they have come to the US to do their masters. So career progression is a bit like it's it stagnates after a few years in India. It's tough to progress in your career after a certain point. So that's one question. Um, yeah, Jitin Satish Kumar asks, how important is CGPA for MS admissions? It is pretty important, but I'd say it's not the most important thing in your application. If you have research experience, you can compensate for your GPA by your research experience. Does research projects or any kind of research experience improve our chances of getting selected? Yes. Research project, research experience is probably the most important aspect of your application. Does being from an IIT help? It does, based on like on how they view your GPA. Like if you say you have a 7 GPA from another institute, then that will be considered as a bad GPA. But if you're from an IIT and you have like 7.5 or something, that's still considered pretty good or decent at least. So in that regard, it will help. But if there's somebody with a better profile than you, then obviously the ID tag doesn't matter that much. What is a good GRE score? It depends on your program. Like look at your program statistics, your admission statistics, and it will be given over there, like what the GRE score of previous admits was or the average GRE score was. But I'd say somewhere around 320 should be a good score. But again, it doesn't matter that much. Uh, it like the rest of your profile matters more than your GRE is what I'd like to say. So is the application process expensive? Yes, the application process is somewhat expensive. Depends on the number of universities that you apply to. Again, make sure that you apply to 7 to 10 universities, not more than that. The proper choice of selecting universities, I guess I covered this in my talk so far, my presentation. Uh, you could work with a faculty member on a research project during your undergrad. Yes. When is the correct time to do so? Anytime. Just whenever. And I think I've told about how to approach them in my talk already. Yeah, so that's one more question. Okay, Sonakshi Gupta asks, does not having a publication make a huge difference? Now, this depends on your profile. Like, if your profile has nothing, and then you have a publication, like apart from the publication aspect, if your profile has nothing and you have a publication, then it makes a huge difference. But if your profile already has research experience, then having a publication, it definitely does improve your chances. Like somebody with a publication will definitely be given higher preference than somebody without a publication. But it doesn't. It's fine if you don't have a publication. Most people who apply for master's programs, especially for master's programs, most people that apply don't have a publication, and most people that apply to a PhD program as well don't have a publication. But because of the competition and because we're international students for PhD programs, people with publications are usually preferred. But again, it shouldn't make a huge difference. They want to know that you can do research, and if your letters of recommendation and your SOP and your resume show that you have potential to do research, then that's what they want basically. So don't worry too much about it. So Janiraj Jayesh Kumar asks, is simulation the future of mechanical metallurgy? I mean, in which field is it not, right? Simulation is the future of every field. Most people, it would give you it it probably will not give you an edge because you're doing simulation. Like your profile won't be given more importance just because you have done simulation. Experimental people, like they're given equal weightage, but it gives you something to talk about in your SOP. Like, I'm interested in simulation and I have done so and so things. So yeah. And in fact, for fields like material science, where the capital cost is a limiting factor uh, in almost every field, because the cost of the chemicals, the cost of the characterization equipment, the cost of the synthesis equipment, it's all really high, right? And that's also one reason why many people are not in these fields, because of the capital cost. Like, many companies don't do materials level research because of this. So yeah, in those simulation definitely does help for like to mitigate a lot of these costs. So yeah, it's definitely the future. In fact, people are doing it right now. So okay, so Kshitij asks, how much does undergrad GPA matter in admission to engineering programs? Like, I've already said it. Is it highly competitive like in Stanford and Berkeley? Well, any top 15 program in your field, top 15 in the US, they're pretty much the same. So the competition for all of them will be very similar. So yeah, GPA again matters, but the overall profile matters more than uh, one aspect of it. How to get started with undergraduate research? I think I've already talked about it. Nitin Satish Kumar asks, which one is better, doing a PhD right after undergraduate or pursuing masters and then doing a PhD? It depends on what you want. If you want to do if you want to do a PhD anyway, you can save a lot of money by doing a PhD right after your undergrad. But like, you need to know exactly what you want to do, and you need to talk with professors. Make sure, if you're applying to a PhD position, make sure you talk with professors. If professors already have somebody that has talked with them, they are probably not interested in looking at more applications at all. So make sure to talk with professors early on. Talk with them, have a meet with them. Make sure that they like you. Make sure that they want you in their group, because almost everybody that gets into a PhD program has talked with a professor before, and the professor watches for them. So I cannot understate the importance of that. Some universities specifically say that don't contact professors. For those universities, you can't really do anything. But almost all of them, they give you the option. How do internships help us? Is it really worth it? It is probably the most worth it thing in your entire application. Internships help you a lot. They give you good hours. They give you exposure. They give you something to write about in your SOP. It's very important. And how much does the research do in our undergrad help us? A lot. How important is the CGPA? I've already talked about it. Is the master's program in the US generally expensive? It is pretty expensive. Expect to pay around 40 to 50 lakhs for your tuition only, and then for living expenses apart from that. But it is possible to work on campus. Like, I'm working on campus right now while doing my studies, and then that helps you to lower your living expenses. Like, that covers a portion of your living expenses. That will help you, but still it's gonna be pretty expensive. So don't expect to lower the cost by a lot. So Het Sekalia asks, how do we get scholarships and what can we do to get higher scholarships? If you want significant scholarships, apply to Erasmus Mundus. They're the best programs for that. And I think, okay, you're in mechanical engineering. So if I don't know about mechanical engineering, but if you're interested in materials, even though you're in mechanical, there's one program called Mama Self, which is an Erasmus Mundus program that is very affordable. It's like less than half the cost of any program in the US. So you can take a look at that. if you want, if cost is a major issue. And one more thing is public universities, they have RIT opportunities, so you get tuition waivers and things like that because of doing RIT. So it will reduce the cost a lot, but not like it won't become like 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs. That's what I'm saying, basically. So Nishit Singh asks, what is the right time to start preparing for the GRE? I've given that in the timeline. What did I put over here? I don't remember. But it's better to be done. Yeah, it's better to be done with your GRE as soon as possible. I wrote my GRE like my like now you guys who are applying for fall 2022, you guys, you, in what situation you guys are in right now. At that time I have prepared for and wrote my GRE, so that's not a that's not a good time. I had to keep my BTP aside. I had to keep my uh, like we had our eighth sem in that sem, so I had to keep that coursework aside just to prepare for my GRE because yeah, I didn't plan really well at that time. But it's better to get it done in your third year itself because the GRE score is valid for 5 years. So get it done in your third year itself. That's the best time. Like at the end of third year, basically sixth sem. The necessary things one must add in his profile. I've already talked about this. How to decide the area of specialization when there are so many courses. So I see that you're from CSC and you're asking how to decide the area of specialization when there are so many courses which you have not yet explored. I'm probably not the best person to ask about this, but I can tell you that ask people who got admits, read the program description to get more idea about what they're talking about, and talk with people. Basically, talk with people who got admits to know this better. So Mukesh Pal asks, okay, so how to kickstart your research experience? I guess I've already talked about this. Like there are multiple avenues which you can, like multiple ways in which you can get research experience. So yeah, start in our institute. That's the first thing. That's the easiest way. That's the quickest way. It's the fastest way. Like like it, you can pretty much get into any lab. There's no selection procedure over there. There's no reason why a professor should deny you a place in their lab if you don't if you're showing interest. Then Athar Bhagia asks, how do you go about applying for it? Well, that was basically my entire talk. So now I'm coming to the chat. How to build your profile? Akshita Mitalas. Uh, if you have joined late, the talk is being recorded, so you can take a look at it later on. So and I'm sure I'll be sharing my slides as well, so you guys can take a look at that as well. The Discord and Telegram links of groups that I mentioned in the last slide. I'll have to check. Okay, so before I'll send it to Pranav and Pranav can share it with you guys. How does that sound, Pranav?
Sure, Bhaiya. I'll send it with the recording.
Okay, yep. So yeah, how difficult is it for an MSc student to apply for CS programs? Frankly, I'm not the right person to ask about this. So please ask somebody who got admits in CS programs about this. So your Jitin Satish Kumar asks, hmm. Okay, so he asks if you need any prerequisite to work in any props lab. In most cases, no, you don't need anything. If you have done a course that prof has taught, then most likely you won't be needing any prerequisites. And even if you would be needing prerequisites, they will like you can learn on the job. You can learn while working in whichever lab that you're working in. They'll give you like you can ask the PhDs for literature for research papers and so that you can read those papers and learn while you're working. So pretty much you don't need any prerequisites. So what exactly should I say to the professor? Well, yeah, read their research, read their papers, a few of their papers, read their uh, research description. They give a description about what they're basically doing. So read that, and then you must be able to make a case for why you're interested in their work. So if you're able to say, okay, I'm interested in your work because of so and so, then definitely you will have a like they will like taking you into their group if you can show that you're really interested in their work and why you're interested and what exactly you're interested in. So send them an email or meet up with them, talk with them. The like don't worry. Okay, yeah, now I guess you guys are online, right? So you can't meet up with your profs. So, but send them an email. And there are profs who do computational work. Send those profs an email because you can do computational work even if it's online. So that's a great way to. I'm sorry, I didn't keep this in mind when I was giving this talk that you guys are online right now. But basically, computational work, simulation work, you can do online. In many cases, you can access the cluster if they need a cluster. You can access those things from the internet. So it should be fine if you do these kinds of things. Uh, or you can also work in experimental labs. Like you can say, well, I'll do the data analysis of the results that you got or things like that. So there are ways in which you can do research in experimental labs as well, but I'd suggest you to go to computational labs to get experience in this time if you're online. So I guess those are all the questions. That's it, I guess. So Athar was what anime is that in my profile picture? It's called Zajbil. I guess it's not very popular, but yeah, I like it. So how can I contact you in the future if required? Yeah, I think Pranav has given you my LinkedIn, given you guys my LinkedIn profile. Just send me an email on LinkedIn, and that would be good. So you can contact me on LinkedIn. And this is the same for everybody. Like if you guys have any questions, like now I'm busy with a lot of stuff. Like trust me, master's course load is much more than what we had in BTech. It's really a lot, even though the number of courses is lower. But like please give me some time. I may not respond immediately, but yeah, give me some time and I will get back to you in some time. So I'm confused between job versus masters. Okay, guys, it's already almost 1:20. uh, I'll answer the last few questions and then I'll stop taking questions. If you guys have any more questions, please contact me on LinkedIn. Okay. uh, so Mohit Vyas asks, I'm confused between job versus masters due to COVID. Couldn't get lab or internship opportunities in 2 years. What is the best option? Mudit, if you're in third year, then it's not too late even now. You can still go to a lab and start working. Start in our institute. Like it's you can get into any lab in our institute, and that really helps a lot. Uh, so, and if you want a job, getting a job in you can get a job in metallurgy rather than material science if you want to go on like campus placements. If you want to go that route. Uh, But yeah, it's not too late even now. And if you want to build confidence, the best way to build confidence is by starting in a lab in our institute. Like it's a safe space. You know the professor, you know the PhD students, their fellow students like you. You can talk with them a bit freely. And if you have one experience already, like every research experience after that, you will be much more confident in doing those things, and you'll be much more confident about yourself because you have done something already. So just start. Don't think too much about this. Just start. What are the best resources for preparing for GRE? I've already given that in the slides, so I'll be sharing the slides with you guys, so you can take a look at that. So I guess that's it for my talk today. I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope that I was able to uh, deliver what I wanted to in a good way that you guys could understand. If you guys have any questions, again, like I already said, contact me on LinkedIn. But give me some time, okay? I can't contact. I can't respond to all of you guys immediately. Give me some time, and I'm happy to help you guys. So Pranav, you can take it from here.
Okay. Thank you everyone for your participation, and thank you Murli Bhaiya for accepting our invitation despite your midterm exams. Yeah, and I'm
No problem.
sure.
It's an honor.
Yeah,
So
and I'm
thanks
sure
for calling.
most of
Thanks for
us
having me.
have gained valuable insights. Thank you.